Welcome back, guys, to Perseverance Part 1. This is the third episode of this Perseverance Part 1 of a three-parter. Now, I'm only assuming these the three parts which they've released are linked. Time will tell. Anyway, guys, without further ado, let's continue. I'm intrigued. Perseverance Part 1, let's do this. Okay, the following day, 11:13 in the morning, so it was a late start here for Jack. I couldn't even remember when I fell asleep. Well, to be honest, I couldn't remember much from the evening before. Booze and weariness take you out quickly. I woke up with a terrible headache and my throat was dry as a bone. I didn't remember the last time I had a hangover like this. I walked up to the sink, turned on the water and drank straight from the tap. When I finally raised my head, I looked out of the window only to realise that the sun was already high. I just wasted my first day. I opened the window to let in some fresh air. A cool breeze carried the smell of pine cones and wet moss, stirred a feeling of nostalgia. However, I couldn't dwell on it for long. I heard the barking again. The dog had to be still out there, somewhere. What's wrong with that damn mutt? I closed the window, but it got me thinking. Why would a dog still be out there? I decided to check it out. Leaving it like this could be dangerous, especially if the dog was aggressive. Stumbling upon it during a hunt could end badly. I grabbed a pocket knife from the shelf and my bag with Natalie's sandwiches. The stuff I had bought at the gas station was still inside. I took my rifle too. If the dog had rabies or some other disease, it would fall on me to do something about it. Armed, I left the cabin. So, this is in the afternoon now. Following the barking was difficult. I couldn't use any of my usual tracks, so I walked into the forest blindly. Whenever the dog went silent, I was left without any clues where to go. So I just waited patiently for it to start making noise again. Can't say I really minded. In the end, a chance to spend time surrounded by nature was the reason why I'd come here in the first place. Fortunately, but oddly at the same time, it seemed that the dog wasn't moving at all. Like it was just sitting there, barking the whole day. Wandering through the forest took me almost 2 hours. It must have been long past noon when I finally found it. I was tied up. I had expected many things, but not what I saw. Instead of a stray mutt roaming around, it was a dangerously looking hound tied to a tree. It was a magnificent beast, big and sturdy. I didn't know much about dogs, but even I could recognise a pure breed when I saw one. It looked like he had spent the last couple of days in the forest. He was a bit dirty, but still healthy and strong. There was a bloody wound on its neck. The collar must have cut his skin when he struggled to set himself free. Some bastard must have left him here to die. If I laid my hands on the guy who did this... Even just thinking about it made me furious. Someone decided to leave an animal to starve to death. Like he couldn't leave it in a shelter? And why? Out of shame? Because it was a long drive? These were all trivial. Yet, there we both were. Hey there, buddy. Oh, okay, easy now, easy. I tried to approach the dog, but it turned out more difficult than I had expected. I had to focus on keeping all my fingers intact. First of all, I had to free him somehow. Touching the collar was out of the question. Tinkering with it at this point would cause him too much pain. Cutting the rope seemed to be a better option, but I couldn't do it without getting closer to the dog. I needed to somehow gain his trust. I think we need to approach it head on. Really? look it in the eye and all that. I don't know anything about dogs. So with a rope tied to his neck, I could more or less predict how far the dog could reach. That's why I decided to approach him head on. In the worst case scenario, I would just get out of his range. Grrr. It was a poor choice. He didn't attack me, but he definitely felt threatened. For he took a step back and bared his teeth, wrinkling his nose. I could see it in his eyes that he didn't want to fight me, but knew that he cannot run away. If I got any closer, he would snap. I think we need to look him in the eye, I guess. Was that what you would do? Among humans, when you want to convey sincerity of your actions, you look the other person straight in the eye. But apparently, that's not how you do it in the animal kingdom. The more I looked, the more frightened the dog grew. It got low on his legs, his tail curls. He took a step back, but at the same time prepared to make a leap. It wasn't the kind of reaction that I'd wanted. Things didn't look good. I was worse at handling dogs than I had imagined. If things had continued this way, I would never be able to get him to cooperate. But I couldn't just leave him there. I needed to find a solution. I took a step back and watched him push himself up. I tried not to look him in the eyes. Fortunately, I had one more ace up my sleeve. I didn't want him to feel challenged, so I gave him space by averting my gaze. I was still a little worried how he would react, so I watched him from the corner of my eye, ready to back off if I needed. But it seemed that the dog finally gained some confidence. He started to wag his tail timidly. Alongside the fear, I caught a glimpse of curiosity. The fangs were still there, but more as a reminder rather than a weapon ready to be used. He was waiting for my next move. I finally got my chance. We were still far from friendly terms, but that was about to change. I reached for my bag and opened it slowly. The lovely smell picked the dog's attention immediately. It's probably the sandwiches. I had something no meat eater would able to resist, especially not one that had just spent a few days stranded in the forest. I fished into the bag and pulled out one of Natalie's sandwiches. I'm sorry, Nat. It pains me to do it, but it's a necessary sacrifice. I know you would understand if you were here. Okay, with a heavy heart, I grabbed one of the sandwiches that Natalie made for me yesterday. It was probably not the healthiest food for an animal, but hey, he probably didn't even care. Time for worrying about nutritional values would come later. I ripped the packaging apart and threw its content near the dog. It disappeared faster than I had thought possible. The dog must have been here for days. Wow, you must have been really hungry, huh? No worries, there's more of it. I unpacked 2 more sandwiches and tossed them to the dog. With his fangs out of my way, I finally had my chance to take care of the rope. It was a thick one, with a polyester cover. I didn't know much about ropes, but if I had to guess, I would say it's probably used for climbing or sailing. Somewhere where durability counts. But not used to tie it around the tree wasn't trivial either. When the animal tugged in an attempt to free himself, it only grew tighter. At this point, there was no way to untie it, not with a pair of sharp teeth ready to bite my arm off. I needed to cut the rope somehow. The problem was that I wasn't sure if I was prepared. I quickly recalled all the things I had with me. I could use... well, a pocket knife, really. Yeah, use a sandwich to... pocket knife. Well, an obvious choice. What else is a knife for? Sadly, it wasn't that easy. The knife was pretty dull, still useful for things like opening cans, but not so much for cutting. With a rope so thick, it would have taken ages before I got through even half of it. I needed something else. A rifle? Could we cut it with shoot it with? In the end, I concluded that trying would be a poor choice. Not only I couldn't predict if it would really work, but the sound of shooting would terrify the dog. Moreover, I could hurt him in the process. I needed to come up with something else. Well, an obvious choice. What else is a knife for? I mean, batteries? I mean, geez. I intended to use the batteries I had bought at the station in the flashlight, but so far I had neither the chance nor the need to do it. I took one out of the packaging. No, just no. There's no way to use a flashlight to cut. Wait, I have an idea. Okay, I don't know whether something went wrong here. A flashlight itself was useless to me now, but the light bulb could be used for various things. Starting a fire was one of them. I thought he was going to break the light bulb to make a sharp. So I took the flashlight apart and picked the bulb. I had all the things I needed. Now was the time to set my plan in motion. Using a pocket knife, I broke the light bulb to expose the tungsten filament. Then I placed it under the rope and carefully touched the base of the bulb with the battery. The filament lit up immediately. The heat allowed me to melt the cover of the rope, which made cutting it much easier. As I was cutting the rope with my knife, I kept watching the dog. He sat there and was growling from time to time. I knew that he would attack if he sensed hesitation or fear. Dogs respond to emotions. I focused on the rope and tried not to think about him snapping at me. It took me a couple of minutes, but eventually the dog was free. Hey, buddy, your prison time is over. What do you want to do now? Not that you have much choice. Sorry, mate, but you look like a typical lap dog. Staying here is out of the question. Plus your neck looks pretty bad. Someone should take care of it. Perhaps I know a guy, but I need you to come with me back to the cabin. It's an hour's walk from here. So what do you think? Are you up for a stroll? I'll take it as a yes. It probably wasn't a yes. The dog was still weary and rather hesitant to follow me. No wonder. It was impossible to tell how long he had been tied to the tree. Thankfully, last of the sandwiches did the trick. Go, you got yourself a dog. Somewhere else? This is not Jane, is it still? Okay, so Saturday in the afternoon, I was able to lead the dog all the way back to the cabin. I pulled my phone out and called for reinforcements. I knew how to patch up small scratches, but this guy needed something more skilled than me. Hey, it's Bob. Hi, veterinarian boy.
Hi, Jack. You remember?
You must be good with ladies. Yeah, sure. I need your help. You know a thing or two about treating animals, right?
Yeah, a thing or two.
Why? You had a change of heart about shooting animals? No, I still hold my point. But I found a dog tied to a tree. Some bastard left him there to die. He's in bad shape.
Did you beat up the guy?
No, but I would have, if I had the chance. Anyway, this dog, he needs your attention.
Wow, I mean, it's awful. Let me just grab my gear and I'll be right there.
That's good of him to actually come here. Are you going to leave your store unattended?
Yeah, 2 hours won't hurt me.
I've earned the weekend's money already. The troops that arrived recently at Murphy's base left a lot of cash. Alright, thanks man, I'll see you soon. So, okay, 5:23. Bob came earlier than I expected. My guess was he had been speeding all the way.
Hey, Jack, where's the patient?
You don't waste your time, do you? It's over there. It took some convincing to get the dog to walk through the door, but in the end, a prospect of warm place to rest won him over. Bob approached the animal slowly. He clicked his tongue to get the dog's attention. Then he extended his hand so the dog could smell it. Unlike me, he seemed to know exactly what to do. Bob reached down to remove the collar. I wondered if he would be able to keep his hands intact. Fortunately, he was. Not only that, he also managed to clean the wound, even though the dog clearly wasn't happy about it. The animal began growling and leaning away, but the fearless man grabbed him firmly. The dog calmed down. Although I wouldn't openly admit it, I was impressed. I would have never guessed that a simple guy from a small gas station knew so much about handling animals. To be honest, I used to look down on him. I didn't know exactly why he had abandoned his studies. He seemed amazingly skilled. I doubted it was because of poor marks.
All right, I did as much as I could. The wound isn't exactly that bad. His neck is swollen and there was some bleeding, but the cut wasn't deep, and he's a tough little fella. But remember, in the end, I'm not a specialist. You should take him to a professional.
Yeah, I know. It's just that there were no vets around here, and driving this fellow back home without wound would have been pretty hard on him. That's why I called you.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to be open to trips with strangers yet.
I also brought you some dog food. Don't give him too much at once. If he didn't eat for a few days, he might not digest it properly.
Anyway, what will you do with him?
I don't know yet. When I found him, I just had to help him. I didn't have much time to think about what to do with him later. I don't feel like giving him away to a shelter. Maybe you could take him? He seems to trust you.
I would love to have a dog, but you know fully well that I can't, Jack. Don't tempt me.
Why not? You seem to be doing pretty well these days.
No, just no.
You don't know how serious my debts are. I won't take responsibility for a living creature when I can't predict if I'll be able to pay my own bills next month. How did a young guy like you get into such debts?
Well, it's a long story short. Back when I was still studying, me and my brother took over our father's company. It was in pretty bad shape, but we were sure we could restore it and start making some money again. I even dropped out of college to have enough time to make it work. It didn't work out. The amount of work overwhelmed both of us, but we didn't want to give up. We were stubborn people, me and my brother. Eventually, we went to a bank for a loan. That's how we ended up in debt. At one point, my brother decided that it was all my fault, that I hadn't done enough, that I was slacking. He accused me of all his bad decisions, and I snapped and left. I'd taken his gun with me. A few months later, I ended up here.
Sounds tough.
Yeah. I doubt there is anything worse than losing your close one's support. Sometimes it's better to leave than to manage with a tough person. But hey, it's all water under the bridge. Unless my brother comes after me to collect his gun. Ha 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 ha. I didn't know you even had a gun. Well, I need to look after my business, you never know. So, what do you intend to do with the dog?
Actually, I was talking with Hope about adopting a dog yesterday, right before we started arguing.
You seem to argue with your family a lot recently. I can sense your anger, Jack.
Oh, really? What is it? Does my aura give it away?
– See, it comes out again. It doesn't matter if you believe me or not. Anyway, Hope accused me of not spending enough time with her, so I was thinking maybe getting her a dog would be a good way of reconnecting with her. Sounds like what she needs is your love, not a pet. A dog was just her way of drawing your attention. He seems to be very wise, this Bob. I know. But it seems like a good start, right? Sure. Any reason to spend more time with your kid is good. You should give the dog a name. A name. Coming up with one was always tricky. It would have taken weeks if I was to really think it through. I decided to just go with what came to my mind now. I looked at the dog. He tilted his head. The first idea was pretty simple. Odin, the Norse god of war, victory and hunting. It was a good, strong name. The second name that came to me was Xander. As a boy, I really hated learning history, yet I always liked listening about Alexander the Great. It seemed more thrilling than the rest of the subjects. I wouldn't mind naming a dog after him. The last idea emerged when I thought about Hope. What was his favourite movie of hers called? Dragon something? And where's a dragon, there must be a brave knight to defeat it. This guy here was big enough to be called Knights. I think Xander. I'll name him Xander. It fits him well. By the way, Jack, there's one more thing I need to tell you. Don't tell me you and Nat have an affair. I would have to shoot you right here. Please don't. I still got my debts to pay off first. What is it then? There was this chick at the station asking for Hal. She said she knew you. Oh, yeah. No, I mean, she's just a chick I met and wanted to help. She seemed out of place. At first, I thought she was some kind of junkie. She gave me this really weird feeling. She was shivering too. Anyway, Hal took her to the station, so she's not my problem anymore. But that's not all. Another woman arrived last evening, asking after that chick. There was something about her I couldn't quite put my finger on. And boy, she was a stunner. You should have seen her. She was lean like a doe. What was I saying? The other woman? Oh yeah. She asked about the military base. I thought she might be a spook or something. A spook? You've been watching too many action flicks, Chief. I'm telling you, man, something's going down. So many new soldiers arrived yesterday, now this woman. There was also a guy with a briefcase this morning. Andy, hold up, Bob. You're getting carried away. It's just another weekend in town, only with some outsiders travelling through. Yeah, you're probably right. I better head back. I got a business to run. See you later, Chief. When Bob left, I approached Xander. I decided to try Bob's trick to see if I can get a similar result. I clicked my tongue and extended my hand. At first, the dog just sniffed my palm, reluctant to do anything more, but after a brief moment of hesitation, he licked my fingers. I took it as a good sign, and it was a start. So does this mean we're friends now? Yes, we're friends with a dog. I scratched his back, causing a lot of tail waggling. It was just as I had thought. He was a lapdog. His previous aggression must have been caused by a mix of fear and pain. As I patted him on his head, he was nothing more but a giant pet. A pet with a jaw full of fangs and enough biting force to take your hand off. Still, a pet. Hope would love him for sure. Funny that. I came here to escape from all the tension with Natalie, but thanks to my new friends, I wanted to go back. I wanted to see the surprise on their faces. I wanted to see how happy Hope would be, and how Natalie, unsure at first, would change her mind as soon as she saw them playing together. I knew it wouldn't resolve all of our issues, I will still need to face my shortcomings. The dog gave me a starting point. I knew what to do and had the confidence to do it. It didn't take Xander long to start frolicking around. I wasn't against a little wrestle playing, but knowing that the wound on his neck was still pretty fresh, I tried to do it as carefully as possible. Yet, when nearly 30 kilos of deadly fluffiness jumped me, I got overturned in a moment. I was too afraid to grab the dog by the skin. Soon I regretted I hadn't done it, as our little play caused additional costs. I heard a loud crack near my right pocket. Oh, it's the phone. Okay, buddy, stop. That's enough. No, Xander, enough. Sit. When I finally managed to get from under the dog, I reached into my pocket only to find that my phone took the whole enterprise pretty badly. The screen was covered in cracks, the battery went loose, and the frame above the speaker was smashed. For a second I thought it was done for. Fortunately, as soon as I put the battery back in, the phone came back to life. The case was cracked, but it was still usable. In the end, I decided to call it a night. It had been a long day. I planned on going for a hunt in the morning, so hitting the bed early was crucial. Somewhere else. Reporting in. This is not a scheduled call, Agent.
The woman got away. No one told me what to expect of her. She attacked several people at the hospital. I saw her.
Calm down, Agent.
This wasn't in the briefing. The girl basically bit her way out of the hospital and jumped off a third-story window. She was like mad. I've never seen anything like that, and others. The locals are shocked. Sheriff wants to organise a manhunt. I've already seen soldiers from the military base moving around the town.
The town will undergo a quarantine in a matter of 2 hours. This should make your second task easier, your briefing.
Listen to me. If what she is carrying is infectious, your quarantine won't be able to contain it. People will die. I need to find her.
Calm down, Agent. Focus on your second target and let us do our part.
What about my extraction?
You'll figure something out. Your task is to secure the scientist and get him out alive.
And the second asset?
He is none of your concern. Find the scientist, get him out alive, bring him to us. Do not fail this time. We'll be very sorry to see you go. Okay, that's it for the third episode then, guys. This story's actually pretty good. I'm quite enjoying it. I hope you are too, guys. Anyway, hopefully I'll see you on the episode 4. So until then, take care.